Okay, so I'm going to start off by showing you how I do this bowl cozy. I do want to say that I am using my heavy duty machine, my Viking Husqvarna. If you have a little $93 machine, whatever that is, at Walmart or wherever, those are great machines, but they cannot handle all of these layers of fabric. When you get to that last step, you've got about 6 layers. So you can try a walking foot, but I nearly damaged my machine trying to do this. The first bowl cozy that I did, but you can see it turned out really nice, but I broke several needles and it had a hard time getting over the last step. So anyway, I have 2 fabrics here, one for the inside, one for the outside. And fun fact for you, these bowls are reversible. So if you wanted to make this the outside or this the outside, you just turn the bowl cozy whichever way you want it. I have 2 pieces of fleece here. This is not fusible fleece. I did use fusible fleece on my first ones. I don't intend for these to be microwave safe. My machine doesn't like that cheap cotton thread, and I figured out yesterday after struggling making one and breaking multiple threads and having to rethread the machine that it was the thread. So I'm using I want to say it's polyester, but it's the thread that I had for my embroidery projects, and it works much better in my Viking. So these are 10 by 10. It's 10, 10, 10, 10. The first thing I'm going to start out by doing is we're going to sew each piece of fabric to each piece of fleece. Now I'm going to pin this to the fleece just out of the way. So I'm doing it on the inside parts here. If you know me from my other channel, I like to do detailed videos because I believe that we should not gatekeep. There's enough room in this world for everybody. And I believe that beginners don't learn with a cutesy little sped up video with a bunch of music in your hands. Just. So anyway, I have got this pinned down to the fleece, and I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to go corner to corner, and I'm going to mark a line. Now you can probably barely see it on there, but the important thing is that I can see it. The difference here that I noticed, with this non-fusible fleece is that I get some bunching. And if you're worried about that with your machine, I learned a trick a long time ago. You can pin all around as much as you can to keep this stable, because this is going to want to bunch up in your machine. And to avoid that is just do some crazy pinning. I'm going to do that and I'll be back to show you that. All right, you can see this is my crazy pinning. And maybe my Viking will take this material without it bunching up, but I'm not taking any chances because these bowl cozies have given me a fit, but I love making them. I love seeing the end result. So I'm going to go to my machine and I'm going to sew on these lines that I drew. Just a top stitch. It makes it nice and pretty. I've got a beautiful red thread that I'm going to do that with. So let's go ahead and do that. Just a note, little corners and edges like this, if I'm going to back stitch especially, I don't start at the very, very edge. I move up a little bit and do my little back stitch. That way you don't get your fabric and everything bunching up. I'm going to line everything up and pin very well. I'm going to pin a lot because this is not fusible fleece and I don't want it to move around. I'm going to leave a small opening, and it really has to be small because you see you've got a tight space in each square. So I'm going to put pins to mark here where I'm going to leave it open for turning. I've got my project all pinned up with right sides facing together. I've got my seams flattened out. You're going to want to have one of these. I kept seeing people years ago using these in videos. I was like, what the heck is that? It's called a stiletto. You can get them at Walmart, Amazon, anywhere. They're pretty cheap, a few dollars. But it helps you push that fabric through without getting your fingers too close to the work. Especially when you get over these, especially when it's been turned and it's really thick. You're going to want to take your time. Just go slow. It's not, what are you in a hurry for, So anyway, I'm going to sew all the way around this, leaving this little space open for turning. And I'm going to try to make sure as I go along that all of these seams on both sides are flattened out, because that's going to work in your favor once you get it turned and you go to do that top stitch. So you can see that did pretty well with all of the steps. And you saw me when I get to this, I kind of angle it this way. I don't put, with any other machine, I would take the crank and crank the needle down into it to do that turn. My Viking just doesn't like it when I do that. So I don't do that. I just careful to go over and make sure I get the stitches stay together. The other thing is, you saw me at every corner kind of reinforcing. It's just something I do. You don't have to, but I can promise you that you're going to cry if you don't make a good strong stitch and you go to turn this and you bust a corner open. So that's why I do that. So now what I'm going to do is just trim we're not going to trim the stitching right there at that corner, but we're going to get as close as possible. And I do like to go edge to edge. It's something else that I try to do when I do corners like this, because it makes me feel better. So if you're asking why. This turning process is going to make you want to get a stiff drink. But it's just a process of taking time. And what I've learned after doing a bunch of these bowl cozies is to go in to one of these bottom corners and turn it and push it. And then just take your time. I made this hole slightly bigger, but anyway, it's still a process. So I'm going to do that, and I'm just going to speed it up and let you watch me do it. It's just basically turning and pulling, turning and pulling until you got the whole project pulled right side out. All right, so I want to make sure that this little corner is out there as best as it can be. And things don't line up perfect. Don't beat yourself up if the line is a little over here. People aren't going to put their bowl of soup in here and go, well, damn, the lines ain't straight. They ain't lining up to the corner. It is what it is, but it doesn't look horrible. So what I'm going to do is press this as best I can. I'm going to get that sucker flat with my iron, and I'm going to start at this opening and just do a top stitch all the way around. Now, y'all can't tell me that you wouldn't be proud to give that to somebody for Christmas. I love the way these look. I am so satisfied by the end of a project and things just turn out perfect. I didn't break one needle, and not one time did my machine come unthreaded, and my stitches are fabulous. If you ever have an opportunity to get one of these and it's running, you better take it because this machine is incredible. I've forever indebted to Margie because this machine changed the way I do videos. And taking it out of storage and just, I'm hard headed sometimes, but I gave it a good cleaning and I didn't give up, and it is fabulous. And this is awesome. So there you go.